Today, we bring you an urgent, eye-opening deep dive into one of the most dangerous and underreported crises unfolding right now. The jihadist surge consuming the Sahel. From Mali to Burkina Faso and Niger, coordinated terror attacks have erupted across major towns, military bases, and civilian centers, leaving over 400 soldiers dead and entire cities under siege. Al-Qaeda's local affiliate, JNIM, along with ISIS-linked factions, are on the march, seizing weapons, flying drones, and even overrunning strategic army outposts. This is not just insurgency. It's an escalation to urban warfare. The world isn't watching, but we are, bringing you the real story, raw and unfiltered. In just the last 60 days, cities across Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have witnessed a terrifying wave of militant attacks. Towns once deemed secured by military juntas are now battle zones. In Burkina Faso, jihadists overran the town of Mansala in the Yaga province, pushing government forces out and seizing full control. In Niger, the Talabri and Tahua regions saw simultaneous assaults that left dozens of soldiers dead, and military posts burned to the ground. In Mali, extremist groups have established de facto control over parts of the Mopti and Gao regions. They're no longer just planting roadside bombs. They're using drones for reconnaissance, storming barracks in waves, and displaying captured weapons in propaganda videos. This isn't guerrilla warfare. It's full-blown jihadist insurgency. Let's talk about Djibo in Burkina Faso, a town that once served as a key military hub for the counter-terror campaign in the north. Today, it's a ghost city, cut off from supplies, under siege, and crawling with militants. The military tried to airlift in food and ammo, but jihadist groups shot down a transport drone and forced helicopter missions to be aborted. In Niger, the town of Ayaru fell to coordinated assaults. Videos surfaced online showing militants hoisting black flags over government buildings. The army pulled out, citing unsustainable losses. In Mali, Kidal remains a battleground, and extremist factions are openly recruiting in public spaces. Entire cities are falling, and no one is coming to stop it. The military governments in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, now united under the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, promised to end jihadist terror. They expelled French troops, shut down UN peacekeeping missions, and hired private Russian military contractors like Wagner. But the violence has only escalated. Why? Analysts say the juntas have overstretched their armies, focused more on controlling politics than building up intelligence and logistics. With Western support gone, they've turned to Russia and Iran, but logistical capacity remains crippled. The result? Jihadists now have more space to operate, recruit, and strike with precision. Behind every statistic is a face. In Burkina Faso alone, more than 2 million people are now internally displaced. Children walk for days to escape villages surrounded by jihadists. Women are being abducted and used as bargaining chips. Schools have been shut down. Hospitals burned. In Mali, survivors describe towns turned into mass graves. In Niger, border towns have become hunting grounds for militants targeting civilians and soldiers alike. Entire communities are being erased systematically. Yet, global attention remains elsewhere. So who is JNIM, the group behind most of these attacks? JNIM stands for Jamaat Nasr al-Islam wal Muslimin, a powerful Al-Qaeda affiliate born from the merger of multiple extremist factions in Mali. They are deeply embedded in the local geography, use ethnic grievances to recruit, and have a complex web of alliances with smugglers, herders, and corrupt local officials. They now command hundreds of fighters, operate in convoys, and launch attacks coordinated across borders. Their goal is clear: to establish a new caliphate across the Sahel, and possibly link up with other jihadist fronts in Libya, Nigeria, and Sudan. They're no longer hiding. They're governing. Why isn't the world paying attention? The US has downsized its military presence. France withdrew under pressure from local protests. The UN is winding down peacekeeping missions. ECOWAS has been largely ineffective due to its internal political tensions. Russia and China are stepping in, but not to restore peace. They want access to uranium, gold, and lithium, not humanitarian solutions. Meanwhile, the international media barely covers this. The world watches Ukraine, Gaza, and Taiwan. But the Sahel bleeds in silence. We cannot let this story go untold. The Sahel now looks eerily similar to Syria and Iraq before the rise of ISIS. Power vacuums, broken states, extremist groups offering services, and total collapse of rule of law. In northern Burkina Faso, jihadists now collect taxes. In Mali, they run courts under Sharia law. In Niger, they issue their own IDs in certain towns. We may already be witnessing the formation of a new extremist caliphate. Only this time it's on African soil, and it's growing fast. The demographic danger is real. With 70% of the Sahel's population under the age of 30 and massive unemployment, young men are easy prey for extremist recruiters. Militants offer food, power, and purpose. With no schools, no jobs, and no state support, many youths join the only structure that promises identity and income, the jihadists. Unless this tide is reversed, we're looking at a lost generation raised in extremism. The military pact between Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, the AES, was supposed to be a game-changer. Instead, it's become a shaky alliance of overstretched regimes struggling for legitimacy. Their joint forces lack coordination. Their propaganda says victory is close, but drone footage and survivor accounts say otherwise. Cities continue to fall. Military bases continue to burn. The AES might not be strong enough to survive what's coming. Where do we go from here? Africa must unite around a new security doctrine, one that centers on regional intelligence, youth empowerment, civilian protection, and cross-border collaboration. Western powers must return, not with weapons, but with support for infrastructure, education, and development. And we, the people, must speak louder. Share the stories. Break the silence. Because if we don't, the Sahel will become Africa's Afghanistan. A land where extremists rule and hope dies. If you've watched this far, you know the truth. The Sahel is in flames. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want more stories the world isn't covering. This is Afrovision News. We bring Africa to your screen, truthfully and boldly. Until next time, stay aware, stay awake, and stay African.
Welcome to African Spotlight 24, your premier source for news and current affairs from across the continent. We're glad you're here. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe, like, and turn on notification to stay up to date with the latest news and analysis. Your support helps us reach more people. Disclaimer: the content of this video is based on credible, publicly available information and is intended for educational, analytical, and informational purposes only. African Spotlight 24 does not promote hate, violence, misinformation, or political unrest. Our goal is to deliver thoughtful insights, highlight local voices, and encourage informed conversations throughout Africa.
Today on the Newscast, troubling reports out of the Sahel region of Africa. Al-Qaeda's local affiliate carries out its most ambitious attack to date, raising questions about what comes next. Get all the breaking details next. It appears that Al-Qaeda's grasp is tightening in the region. And join us on a daily basis as watchmen and women on the wall for such a time as this. A Bible verse that I believe really helps us understand what's going on in the Sahel region of Africa is Psalm 2. Do they target civilians, government buildings, places of worship? Folks, pray right now for the people in the Sahel region. Pray also that African nations, especially in the region, work together to combat this threat, that they do not sit idle by while Al-Qaeda tightens its grip. The wicked plot, the Lord will thwart their plans. So, if you have not subscribed, hey, click the notification bell. Join us on a daily basis as watchmen and women on the wall for such a time as this. Until next time, God bless you, and remember, never hold your peace. The Lord says, I have enthroned myself in the heavens. I am here to stay, and my sovereignty extends over the nations. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload. Tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Let the nations rise up against one another, and let the peoples be gathered together against one another. Let the one who prophesies come forward, and let the one who has insight declare what is true, and let him tell what is ahead. Now we've been documenting here on the newscast over the past few months really a very disturbing trend of jihadists linked to Al-Qaeda seizing territory. It is part of a larger plan, a larger scheme by the father of lies, the evil one, to try to create a pan-Islamic caliphate in the image of the former glory of the great Mali Empire that existed centuries ago in the region. Of course, we've had many videos on the newscast documenting how Al-Qaeda in particular has been expanding its sphere of influence in the Sahel region. But it does appear to be moving into overdrive in recent weeks. Again, this latest attack, which we mentioned at the top, the execution of at least 41 soldiers, some reports say even higher than that. This was carried out by a group known as the Qadiyya Group for Justice, JNIM for short. And JNIM is the Al-Qaeda affiliate in the region, specifically linked to Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, AQIM, and they claim responsibility for this attack and others, including the horrific attack back in November in the town of Bulkasi, Mali, where more than 100 people were killed, most of them in a mosque, also soldiers stationed nearby at a military base. They were targeted as well in this latest attack. A column of vehicles carrying supplies and reinforcements to the Malian army was attacked between the towns of Douentza and Gandamari. And according to the Armed Conflicts Location Event Date, a project, at least 41 soldiers were killed, possibly even higher than that, and they were mostly from Burkina Faso. So it looks like the target really here was to kill as many soldiers as possible. It wasn't necessarily a target, a strategic military target, that was the goal here. It was just kill as many soldiers as possible. At least 41 did in fact die. Their bodies were then mutilated, their heads cut off and then hung from trees. This is the report that we're getting. This is chilling stuff, obviously. But again, this is what we have seen in recent months. A brazen attack against a military base, killing hundreds of soldiers. In the Sahel, remember, civilians are being killed as well in these attacks. And this is why the threat level has been raised to maximum right now in the region, carrying out brazen attacks against not just civilians, but also military bases in Mali, in Burkina Faso, and increasingly in the region of Niger as well. Folks, it seems that this is just the tip of the iceberg, because according to our first story, today an Al-Qaeda affiliate just executed at least 41 soldiers in the latest of a string of attacks in Mali and Burkina Faso. And again, these numbers are just staggering. Since December, at least 400 soldiers have reportedly been killed by jihadist groups in the region, most of them linked to Al-Qaeda. That's the estimate, at least by the Armed Conflicts Location and Event Date, a project. And we're going to break down what exactly is happening here in a minute. Hey folks, welcome to the newscast. We begin today with some very troubling developments out of the Sahel region of Africa. But real quick, if you have not subscribed to the news channel, hey, click the notification bell. Subscribe folks. What we're seeing right now in the Sahel region is nothing new. Again, what happens next? It's a very strategic and dangerous move by this Al-Qaeda affiliate, JNIM. Could there be more attacks imminent? Hey, we have crossed that 500,000 subscriber milestone. But rest assured, we're just getting started here on the channel. Thanks so much for joining us here today on the newscast. Hey, everyone, thanks for checking out the newscast.